Namaste, Sabhaye Namaha, Sabhasadbhyo Namaha. A warm welcome to each one of you, all our esteemed panelists, and all our friends who have joined us from across the world for the inaugural session of Global Festival of Yoga, second edition. We'll commence this session with the inaugural chanting by Sri Abhishek, who will be presenting before us one of the verses from the Bhagavad Gita, which also carries the theme for our entire festival.
युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः योगो भवति दुःखः
So, with thanks to Abhishek, we would like to present before you the intention behind starting or setting out with this festival this year too. As you're all aware, Indica Yoga is a platform that aspires to offer authentic, immersive, and transformative yoga experiences across the world. We embrace various dimensions which uphold the spirit of yoga in its largest essence. Yoga as a tool for transformation. This is the approach that we have kept before us. And with this, we started a month long festival last year. After completing it, we were really, especially in this year, when we were about to commence, we were in two minds. I even say not just two minds, three minds, four minds, five minds, whether to go about with the festival again this year or not. We were at some point thinking of an in-person festival, then it got slowly changed into an online festival. But even in online, we really had this struggle, I should say. What kind of festival should this be? Because the moment we use the word festival, it carries the spirit of celebration. But this time, in the post COVID, post lockdown situation, what are we going to celebrate? And though the situation is similar to last year, it's similar everywhere, but more so in India, this is still quite different this time because what were statistics last year transformed into known names and faces this year. The tragedy that hit us was very close to all persons that we are familiar with, to the families that we are familiar with. There was not a single family that was untouched by what was happening outside. So, in this situation, what is that we really seek to share with the whole world? So, this was the concern that we were carrying. And one thing that came up through our reflections is the whole world needs healing. And a true healing is only possible when it comes from inside. A bone might be broken, there might be a plaster outside, but the healing has to take place from inside. And therefore, we thought, can we have this entire month-long session focused towards this aspect of healing, where it really helps people to find out, to explore their own inner resources, to have a proper access to them, and through that, they come about healing themselves. Because if I have to heal the world, I have to heal myself first. So, keeping this idea in mind, we set out with the focus on the theme of healing, but we also felt that is an immediate requirement, but we should also have the larger vision, and therefore we had well-being and wisdom as the extended themes for this year. So while many of our sessions would be focusing on healing, we're also covering all its other aspects too, where we will be ensuring that teachers who come here will be sharing a lot of wisdom, which through which all our participants can seek that right access to well-being, whether it is through asana, whether it's through pranayama, whether it's through philosophy, or whether it is through even food and nutrition and diet. All these aspects are included. So as I said earlier, yoga in its largest sense is the way we approach yoga. So with this background, we have set out once again to mark the International Day of Yoga with a month-long festivity that is starting from today. It will go on up to 18th July. And again, this year we have a wonderful lineup of speakers, teachers, scholars, practitioners from India and across the world who will be showering their generous gifts with all of us here. So this is what we are looking forward to. And when we are about to bring this about, again, like last time, we believe in the spirit of collaboration and cooperation. We reached out to many organizations, though it was little late, but yet they were very generous in the hand that they lent out. And we are honored to have them all here today. So I would like to request each one of them to share a quick message. I'll go in a certain order. I'll just invite them one by one. So I'll start with Center for Soft Power. Center for Soft Power is a sister platform of Indica Yoga. It's right under the umbrella of Indic Academy, which seeks to strengthen the bonds that India shares with the entire world through its contributions, whether it is spirituality, whether it is yoga, whether it's art, whether it's culture. These are the various strands through which India embraces and nourishes the world. And Center for Soft Power seeks to nurture and strengthen these bonds. And on behalf of Center for Soft Power, we have Srimati Vijay Lakshmi Vijay Kumarji, who is the director of CSP. May I now request her to give her message on this occasion. Vijay Lakshmi ji.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vinay Chandra, for inviting us over and for asking us to collaborate with you. Namaste and greetings from the Center for Soft Power. Wishing all our viewers and panelists and esteemed guests greetings on the International Day of Yoga, and it also happens to be the International Day of Music. Our best wishes to Indica Yoga on the launch of the second Global Festival of Yoga. The theme of the festival, as Vinay Chandra has already said, is healing, well-being, and wisdom, and it is very appropriate and extremely relevant to our times today. Yoga and Ayurveda together give us the most complete understanding of health or swasthya, where the mind, soul, and senses are calm. It is because of such an interconnected approach to health that yoga and Ayurveda attract such immense interest from around the world. It is perhaps only in these two systems that the definition of health includes the Atma, without which, of course, we cannot completely understand life as well as health. While Ayurveda extols yoga as the path that leads to liberation, yoga sees Ayurveda as a means to attain yogic powers. As we gather here for this month-long festival, we need to celebrate the Indian approach to health through yoga and Ayurveda, which does not engage in either intellectual pedantry or reductionist physicality. A combination of an engaged, steady mind and a disciplined body can help us achieve the goals of this festival. Once again, I wish Indica Yoga all the best for undertaking this month-long tapas, I should call it, because I remember the last year how from 30 days it extended to 40 days. And it was 3 sessions a day. And I really wondered how they did it. And they're all set to do it again this year. And I'm so happy we collaborated because we'll be there to help them in this month-long event. Thank you so much, and namaskar once again. All the best.
Thank you, Vijay Lakshmi ji. We move on to our next collaborator, that is Indian Yoga Association. Indian Yoga Association is the apex body of various yoga schools, yoga institutions across the India, across the country. In fact, it is headed by a panel of eminent gurus, including Sri Ravi Shankar ji, Baba Ramdev, Sadhguruji, Guruji, H.R. Nagendra. So all these people have come together to put together a very strong association which will reflect the true spiritual values through yoga schools and yoga institutions, that is Indian Yoga Association. It has more than 50 founding members and thousands of members as life members, professional members, and various other categories too. So Indian Yoga Association has always been a great strength of support to Indica Yoga and all its activities. Sri Ravi ji, who is the Joint Secretary of Indian Yoga Association, has extended his warm support to us again this year too. And with this, I now move on to Global Peace Initiative of Women, GPIW. They were our collaborators last year too. This is an organization head by Ms. Dina Miriam, who founded this organization in the year 2002. And since then, they have been continuously involved in various kinds of dialogues across the globe, I should say, peace dialogues, wisdom dialogues, nature conservation dialogues. So dialogues of various kinds where they get the young and the old, every member of the community to sit together, to talk together and seek solutions to the problem that they have. And on behalf of GPIW, we have Ms. Marian who has joined us to share their message. Over to you, Ms. Marian.
Namaste, everybody, and thank you so much for inviting the Global Peace Initiative of Women to join you again this year, to join Indica Yoga and the other esteemed partners in this very important and meaningful initiative that really offers wisdom to people around the globe, so much in need right now. This is definitely the year where we need healing, where inner healing is needed. It has been a time of much homeboundness and quiet. So it has afforded many the opportunity for old traumas to emerge that humanity has held for thousands of years. And we're now being given a little bit of a chance to see these, to feel them, and to heal them. We also are given the opportunity now of seeing what is most important in life, our natural medicines, nature, all of the things. We really see what is important when we have had things taken away. So for humanity to reconnect with our ancient traditions, with our natural healing ways, with our meditation, our yoga, our connection to the natural world, this brings so much healing. And this has been a lot of our focus of the Global Peace Initiative of Women this last year. So some of the speakers we will bring you will talk about these ways of healing. Thank you all. Thank you for organizing this. And we really look forward to a month of fantastic sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marian, for this lovely message. We now move on to our next collaborator, that is Ritambhara. Ritambhara Ashram is founded by Sri Raghu Anant Narayan ji. Ritambhara also seeks to empower people and, as Raghuji often says, helps them to be the best that they can be. So this is the kind of the work that Ritambhara is doing. And I now request Raghu Anant Narayan ji to share his message.
Thank you, Vinay, for inviting me to be part of this extremely important activity that you're doing. And I think the attempt to create yogacharyas with a deep anchorage in our tradition and in themselves is exactly what we need today. And I think it's a fabulous endeavor that you're trying to do. Today is also my Guru Deshikacha's birthday. So I'd just like to share something that he has said, which I think would be very relevant for us today. I remember in one of the discussions he was having with a group of people, somebody asked him, who has the adhikara, who can be a yoga teacher? So his response was that I will entrust yoga only with somebody who has a deep and abiding concern for human suffering and for human well-being. So I just like to share with you these words of Ishkacha, which I think have been very impactful for me, and I think is very meaningful in this context. So deep gratitude, Vinayji, Hariji, and the whole team who are doing this, and all the very best for you.
Thank you, Raghuji. So our next collaborator that we have with us is Ritambhara. Ritambhara Wellness is a Bangalore-based organization which seeks to again nurture people who hold spiritual values to help them grow in this field through various kinds of programs, whether it's courses, retreats, workshops, and many other kinds, both in personal spaces as well as in professional spaces. On behalf of Ritambhara, we have with us Krishnapani K.C. Rajruji, who is the program director, and I request him to share his message.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vinay Chandra, for inviting us to collaborate with you. It's a great honor, and we're extremely happy to be associated with Indica Yoga on this in this month-long festival. And Ritambhara Wellness is a budding organization which is into the wellness space, which takes into account all the dimensions of wellness, starting from physical to the transcendental. And on this occasion, I have just spent a few lines which I would like to read out as a kind of welcome address on behalf of Ritambhara Wellness. As you know, yoga etymologically means to integrate, to join wholly, harmoniously, and happily. Yoga has three aspects: a philosophy which addresses the perennial questions of our whole existence and its ultimate purpose, a practice of a very well-defined set of guidelines which addresses physical, emotional, and mental dimensions of our being, and a progression to a culmination or transcendence to that one ultimate truth which expresses itself as being, consciousness, and bliss in its pristine state. Yoga is one of the most comprehensive subjects whose body of knowledge has an appeal that is at once rational, emotional, and transcendental. Yoga is an invitation to befriend one's own body, mind, and inmost being, and a celebration of awakening to a higher state of awareness. And what better day, the summer solstice, to do this than on this longest day of the year, June 21st, 2021. On behalf of Ritambhara Wellness, I join all of you to welcome this Indica Yoga's 1 month celebrations, and we join in that all the three aspects of healing, wellness, and wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Krishna Praniji, for that wonderful message. So with all of you with us and our chief guests, Shri Yoga Shri Raghuram ji and Shri Kiran Vyas ji with us, taking the guidelines from the Vedas, which says Sangachadvam, Sambadadvam. Let's walk together, let's speak together, let's get all our minds and acts together So with that spirit, we seek to dedicate this month-long festival with the virtual lighting of the lamp with all your consent. I now request Kotiji to kindly make this happen with the consent of all the panelists who are here. Om. Thank you. I also like to convey the message of our founder, Sri Harikiran Vadlamaniji, on this occasion. He has wished best of luck and he has wished in all his hearts and minds for the success of this program. He'll be joining us through various sessions and also for the valedictory. And with this, I now move on to the main part of the session. I'd like to request Anuradha Chaudhary ji, Dr. Anuradha Chaudhary, who is the assistant professor at Department of Humanities and Social Sciences at IIT Kharagpur, who teaches Sanskrit, French, yoga psychology and history of ancient Indian science and technology there to introduce our guests of the day. Over to you, Anuradha ji.
So namaste and very warm welcome to everybody. It's really wonderful to see so many of our previous collaborators back with us on this new journey as we embark through another attempt to explore and understand uh, another depth of the human consciousness. And especially as we have, Vinay very beautifully spoke about the difficult circumstances through which we have all gone. So this is another opportunity to not just light a digital lamp, but to actually try and find the light within in all circumstances. And this particular lighting of a lamp is always accompanied by the mantra from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which is Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritangamaya. So to lead us from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, and from death to immortality. But we can also understand this mantra as a quest to be led to the truth of the untruth, to the light of the darkness, and to the immortality of death. So, as we have all lived through pain, let us try and find and light that light within. So, with these few words, we have two very senior, very experienced yogacharyas with us who will initiate that process on this yoga festival to help us discover some important um, sparks of light within us that can take us through this journey. So I would like to start by welcoming Yogashri N.V. Raghuramji, who will be our first speaker. So Yogashri N.V. Raghuramji is one of our very revered Jeshthas on our yoga journey. He is the chairman and spiritual founder of the international organization called Yoga Bharati. As a true yogacharya, he has been a student of yoga and spirituality from his younger days and has devoted his life to a cause that he strongly believes in, and that is the spread of a holistic approach to yoga and spiritual knowledge. He speaks all over the world, and this is very much in line with the spirit of Indica Yoga, which is to bring forth the authentic, immersive, and transformative practices of the yoga tradition. As an international ambassador for S. Vyasa, Raghuramji has been traveling the globe for over 3 decades, and he has been guiding seekers and researchers in the field of yoga, widely popular among his students and those who have had the good fortune of listening to his words of wisdom. Uh, they will all agree with me that he is an epitome of wit, wisdom, and also extremely generous with his teachings. So Raghuramji, with these few words, request you to kindly take us through a session. But since there are very few, there's a very short time that we can give you during the inauguration, I said, request you to please sow that seed of light that will then blossom into a wonderful tree. And we look forward to having you on this session again. So over to you, Raghuramji.
Thank you, Anuradha, for the kind words. Very happy to be associated with Indica Yoga, one of the co-passengers with all of you. And Indica Yoga is a platform which really globally takes the message to the people, particularly on this International Day of Yoga. It's really a wonderful occasion, and I'm looking forward for the rest of the programs that's happening following this particular day. But before I proceed for that further, I just would like to use this platform, Indica Yoga, on behalf of all of you, and I very much hope that you all agree with me that I would like to really see that this yoga in this particular culture has started like a way of life, and it has been there for the past more than 10,000 years. In fact, recent researchers somewhere I was reading that it goes up to about 18 to 20,000 years, whatever it may be, that this culture has given so many things that are there in the way of life. And because of that, this culture survived for all these years in such a wonderful manner. And then it's in a vibrant way that we are doing this. Look at the way that during this COVID period, when the online classes are going on, courses are going on, it has become more busy. So that taking to the people across. So that's how this particular thing is a culture. And this culture just did not, and it has been taken by various people all across the world. More than 1,000 years, various yoga acharyas, yoga teachers, yoga students, yoga aspirants, they have taken across the world. So on this occasion, on this Indica platform, I would like to really pay our respects on all our behalf that to all these yoga teachers who have gone across the globe, particularly those days when people did not know where India is, what India is, and all that. Even at that time, people came here and then took this message of yoga across the world. And whatever form that they have taken, it doesn't matter. But then they have taken across the world, not only at that time that they have taken, but even till today, that people are taking across the whole world this message of yoga. I salute on behalf of our organization and Indica Yoga, all these yoga teachers who have taken yoga to the globally. And today we are able to sit down here and celebrate what is called as Global Festival of Yoga. And when yoga was taken as International Day of Yoga across the world, when UNO said it, most of the countries, almost all the countries have unanimously agreed for this International Day of Yoga. So this is the one single festival, I think, is a global festival in a true sense across the globe. And then we are able to see this particular thing. And I see that how my friend from, I have another friend in France, and friend from Ukraine, and all these places, Cuba and all, they have said that, yes, we are also celebrating International Day of Yoga. And then they sent me all those clippings, whatever that they are doing. I was really fascinated. Look at the way that how this whole thing is across the globe. Now, yoga is something which is basically the beginning, but along with this yoga, that we need to really take this whole culture across the globe. And this culture is in various ways, it has been given in the form of various aspects in our life. And that's what basically made this life is something which is surviving for more than 10,000 years or 20,000 years. And in the name of yoga, basically that the way that we have brought about, one thing that we see is that a wonderful discipline that has brought about. In fact, COVID has given that discipline to us again. In fact, when you look at this COVID, whatever that we used to say that wash your hands, wash your feet before you enter into, and then wash all the clothes, this was what part of the culture that we had. And now look at the way that COVID has done all those things. Don't eat outside, eat home food, be together. These are all the things which he achieved. So that means to say, all these things that even though on one side that COVID has really hit us very hard, but on the other side, it's also given us this particular cultural aspect of it. I would like to say in the name of yoga that there is this discipline aspect we have, which is in the form of yama niyamas. Now, slowly people are realizing that it is important, not just only take the physical postures or asanas, but also yama niyama. How many ways that I see that people are doing this seminars, workshops on the yama niyama, importance of that. What are the ways that we can include in that? Apart from that yoga, when you look at Ayurveda, Ayurveda bring about the way of life, and the way of life that they have given us in the form of dinacharya, rutucharya, and also that whatever that is called as the various other aspects in the Ayurveda. They're all the things which are supposed to be the way of life that they have suggested. It's not just something outside the blue, but it is something which is, you don't have to wait for any sickness or any pandemic to come to. It is something which is always part of our life. Apart from that, yoga and Ayurveda, in fact, even in our Varnashrama Varna Dharma, they have given us these disciplines. They said that the higher and higher in, Shudra to Vaishya to Kshatriya to Brahmana, when we go, there are higher and higher degrees of discipline that they have suggested. And actually our scriptures say Brahmana is somebody who is supposed to have the highest degree of discipline that in his life. So that what happens is those disciplines apply at the body level, at the physical level, so that he can devote his mind at the intellectual level, emotional level, at a deeper level, at the spiritual level. So therefore, the discipline has been the part of this particular culture when you look at the Varna. The same way when you look at the ashramas, we have such beautiful way that the scriptures talked about the discipline that are there. In the beginning that we always used to have what is called a Shreyas. And that is what is the discipline that is given to the children right until the time that they have become grahasthas. And after that, yes, you go for prayers. But then what happens? Once you are soaked in Shreyas, that means to say what is supposed to be good for you, then what happens is that when you go to the prayers, that means what you like, what is good, then you start developing the liking for that. And children, if they are not introduced to anything called as a Shreyas, that means what is good for them. And right from the beginning, we only give them what they like it. Then what happens is when they grow up, they have to lament because they don't know what is supposed to be good for them, because they're used to something which they like it. So this is what is the damage that can be done. Therefore, that we have in the ashrama dharma, we have this kind of a thing where it is in the beginning, you introduce what is supposed to be good for you, Shriyam, that is what is Shreyas. And later on, all right, the world is there for prayers. And that also you take it in such a way that it can be done so that it can take you towards further journey. And apart from that, we also have what is called as in the Samaja level, we have given the discipline. And that's what we have, the Samaja Dharma. That means to say, you are not an individual, but you are a family. And then you have the whole relationship in the family. And a family is a unit which is a part of the society, and the society is a larger way. So this way, when you look at these things, there is so much of discipline ingrained in this particular culture. Right from the beginning, the word go, that the people were going through these kind of disciplines. Like that, when you look at this, that right from the level of yoga, when we say simple asanas, pranayama, from there, we go towards yama and yama, and all the way right up to the samaja level, which is dharma. This is what is the journey of yoga that we need to make it. In fact, all over the world, it is necessary that we take this kind of a message, so that what happens is that what we are today planning in the form of healing, in the form of well-being, and also in the form of wisdom, and that can really prevail within us. So that what happens is that truly that we can create what is called as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That means to say one family of the whole world that we create. We might speak different languages. We might have different nature around us, different kind of vagaries that are there. In spite of all those things, there is one common thing that is there. we are the human beings, and that humanness of the human being is becoming more and more rarest commodity these days. When we need to bring about that commodity of humanness of the human being, I think yoga is the best tool that we can take it to the international world. I can see that the world is looking forward for that. It's not just asanas, pranayam. In how many different ways that yoga is spreading. Like Hare Krishna, people are taking bhakti yoga. Somebody else is taking meditation techniques and all those things. Somebody else is taking go seva, that protecting the cows. Like that, when you look at it all over the world, so many, and vegetarian food, vegan food, like that, you see that there is no area where it is not covered by the Indian values, the culture that has given. So this is what we say, what you call it as soft power. Soft power is basically that a power that they realize and adapt from wherever it is. And then India has that rich house and of this particular power. Let's try to share with that. Let us take this message all across the globe. So with this idea, that International Day of Yoga and all these days that you are now sharing the wisdom is definitely going to help us to see that how we can definitely meet with the requirements of the global level. And actually what happens is that the higher levels at the, say, UNO, etc., they say that this International Day of Yoga and all those things they announce. But who is supposed to take this message? It is we, common people, involving with the people. We need to take this message. And when we take the message, definitely that the world comes to the change. And world is waiting for that change. Let's take this forward. With that, I wish all the participants here, all the wonderful, wonderful speakers who are assembled here, and Indica Yoga, all the very best on this occasion. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raghuramji, for your reassuring words of hope and empowerment. Something that we are all really looking forward to, and we hope to take that and implement a lot of the things that you have said right from the moment go of this festival. Thank you very much. It's next my humble privilege to introduce Shri Kiran Vyasji to you. Kiran Vyasji is the founder and director of Tapovan, an open university of yoga and Ayurveda, which has served as a bridge between East and West and has been the gateway for many in the West, especially to discover the secrets of health and well being that Ayurveda presents. He has been inspired by Gandhiji, Tagore, La Mer, or the Mother, Sri Aurobindo, and Yehudi Menuhin. Kiran Vyasji is originally from Gujarat, a former student of my alma mater, the Sri Aurobindo International Education Center in Pondicherry. He founded 3 experimental schools with his father, who was one of Mahatma Gandhiji's closest collaborators. And in his company, he was fortunate to have had the satsang of some great personalities like Sardar Patel, Vinoba Bhave, and several other artists and disciples of Rabindranath Tagore. Kiran Vyasji then chose France to promote the influence of the science of life, that is Ayurveda. His long association with the UNESCO and other international educational institutions in Canada and other countries, along with his scientific training, his pedagogical sense, his keen interest in the evolution of body and mind, as well as his creativity, led him to develop Tapovan into an open university, open to all, promoting interdisciplinary exchanges and intercultural learnings. Kiran Vyasji was the precursor of Ayurveda in Europe. He sort of introduced Ayurveda to Europe as early as the 80s, when no one in Europe knew what Ayurveda was all about. He is recognized as a major player in the teaching of this art of living in the science of well-being and personal development for nearly 40 years. He is, in this context, one of the best representatives to talk to us about how Ayurveda can play a very important role in our lives and help in the healing process. But today, again, he will just lay the seeds, and we look forward to hearing from him more on these lines later on. So, with these few words, over to you, Kiran Vyasji. Thank you for being with us.
Namaste. Om Anandamai Chaitanyamai Sat Satyamai Parame Om Tat Savitur Varam Rupam Jyotihi Parasya Dhimahi Yannaha Satyena Deepayet Om Asatu Ma Sadgamaya Tamasu Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amrutam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. My dear Anuradha and Vinayji and all distinguished guests, distinguished participants, it's a great, great joy. What Raghuramji gave us as a message, it was really heart-touching. It was really something which penetrated. We were just drinking his words. And it was really a good beginning. And what Indica Yoga has started, I wish a full success. And I really want this platform. This platform, for me, it immediately came up as if it was a platform in the space, not on the earth. And where it had something like interplanetary connections, and not only right from America to Japan to India. These countries seem to me very small when you just took up the subject of building up, and you have built up this platform. So congratulations, first of all, for building up this platform. Now, yoga or yoga, as we pronounce it over here, is something which we can't imagine. First of all, in the beginning, when I came to the Western world in 70s, in beginning of the 80s, when I saw the practice of asanas being called as yoga, my first reaction was, oh, this is not to call it a gymnastic. I just called it a yogastic. And for me, it was a real shock in the beginning. But then when I found that even with a practice of one asana class of an hour, once a week itself gave something extraordinary to the people, then I just said to myself, wait and see what the nature reserves for us. And then I just thought of what does nature want? What is the aim of the Prakriti? What is the aim of nature? And of course, the sentences came to my mind: evolution. Evolution right from the stone or the matter to the life as a unicellular, and then it becomes a fish, all the 10 avatars, but what we'll just call it, from no life to life, from life of plant to life of an animal, from animal to man, and from man we are as yet a man animal, I would say, or animal man. I do not know how to describe us, but it is true that we have not yet become, in a way, a man or a man divine. But of course, it is really being felt that we are on the path of certain evolution. And let us hope that not in the German philosopher Nietzsche, how he brings us to Superman. I would more say, in the words of Sri Aurobindo, it is the supramental being which should come up and have this transformation from the man to the upper grade. It is nothing upper or lower, but it is the next transformation towards which the nature by itself is moving. Prakriti, and my feeling was, being myself a teacher, being a son of a teacher, and with the influence of Gandhiji, then Tagore, and then the mother and Sri Aurobindo, and of course, musicians like Yehudi Menuhin, but also getting in touch with so many people in the world. I just felt that there is something overwhelmingly, everybody is looking for something. Call it a light, call it a, a happiness, call it something, whatever you want. But that search, for example, once I was in America, and then a group of friends, they said, "Oh, we have come here. And in a way, we are happy that what we wanted a fridge, we wanted a car, we wanted a house. We have all these things. But even then, as if we have reached where we wanted to, and we are nowhere. We have even lost our sleep. We need to take a small little medicine to go to sleep. Whereas we are jealous of the people in India who are just sleeping on floors, sleeping in heat at 50 degrees. And here we need to take a small little, and still worse, not only more than 50% of that population needs to take some medicine in France or in so-called civilized countries to go to sleep. But they need also something else in the morning to wake up and to get up and be in a working order. So all these things, I thought there is the need, something of. Then, of course, uh, all these things made me think, as I thought, first of all, education is the path. Education we can give, which can educate. But of course, again, the Western education, which had been thrust upon India, which has been thrust upon so many countries in the world. And especially when I was at UNESCO, I saw that we wanted to just for each so-called developing countries, underdeveloped countries, and we never saw. For example, you go to India, you go to Africa, you go to some of these countries. When you look at these women with the pots on their heads, how nice, straight their uh, spinal column, how straight, how beautiful, and the health is just radiating from their face. Whereas we have lost that. We have become turned. We have become the faces are pale, and we need to do a makeup to get up to date. So my feeling was, what is lacking is something more. And then, of course, the Ayurvedic concept of ojas came to my mind. Ojas and tejas, that is what we like on our faces. The health, of course, but the health, when is health coming? Ayurveda says when you have this ojas, this sort of aura. And that is the transformation from the right, from ahara, the food what we have. But from there we do make rasa, that is the real delicious living, which is the juice, which is the nectar. We transform that, and then slowly the transformation comes up. The next dhatu in Ayurveda we speak is rakta. Rakta is nothing else than the blood. But then they say that in your blood, the constituents should be of the exact nature, that is nothing more, nothing less. If you have the white blood cells, it should be in certain proportions. If you have the red ones, in certain proportions, but it should not go beyond. Even if you are very, very rich, you have no right to have too much sugar in your blood. So I was just wondering how it was that then the idea of this transformation came, it changes to the ojas, that light. And in fact, the little babies have that ojas, have that thing in their eyes, and we do not have. So how to find out that health? That was my personal question. And then certainly with all respect, I found yoga practices here in Europe very interesting, because I had also gone through a physical training also. But I just named it one more part of a physical training, good for the physical health, with the change that it is not isotonic, isometric. Both the things were there in that, and there was influence on our inner organs and not only on our lungs and the heart. So that part was extremely good, but we needed something more. And then I found that let us introduce Ayurveda to this world. And naturally, the world of Ayurveda was enchanting. And for me, first of all, to introduce this Ayurveda to Europe, how so naturally people were. For once I was in a conference for I chose all the things, and it was a beauty parlors, and beauticians were there from all over the world, and there were about 2,000 people gathered together, and we checked through all the stands, the salons, what they call it, with the certain things, with this cream which will make you beautiful, and the ladies of 50s, 60s, 80s, they were just seeing those creams, and at the same time the models were 20, 25 years young girls, and they were just put. But then in my speech to these people, I just told them that according to Ayurveda, if you are constipated, you are going to have a constipated beauty. No creams will ever help you. So first get non-constipated, and then the beauty will automatically come. So the health is the first point, and the healing is what we need today. Healing, in fact, the whole world is in a way sick. Sick, where is it sick? Is it sick bodily? Is it sick emotionally? Is it sick mentally? But sickness is certainly felt, in fact, as an atmosphere, as something, and everybody needs that some sort of a help. So I personally am starting to look at the things, and of course, it gives us the time with this COVID-19 and lockdown. In fact, it is the opening up, because we are just remaining in one position, in one place, which is the first part of any yoga, sthiram. Sthiram, we are in immobility. But then it has to be, even for an asana, it has to be sthiram and sukham. But that sukham is not there in our body, nor in our nature, nor in our, and naturally we need to do something. And your platform, for me, it's a celestial platform. I'm sorry to tell you, Anuradha, your work is so excellent, right from the what I would say, the French language and the Sanskrit language. But with the collaboration of Vinayji, you have made this platform. You have gathered together so many interesting people. And I'm sure that we are all going to do something which would be a help to each and every one of us. Wherever we are, at whatever stage we are, it's going to help us. We cannot say that we have achieved something. In fact, all of us, we are on the path, and it is on this path we'll get some help from somebody here, somebody there. But naturally, only one thing I would like to tell, that is what we really seek and what we really want to do is, first of all, we need to know our own self. And where generally we make a mistake is the concept of prajna para. Means I know what is good for me and I will not do it. And I know what is not good for me and systematically I will do it. Whether it is an action, whether it's a speech, the whole morning, whole afternoon, I'll think that this sentence, I will certainly not speak to Anuradha ji. And what happens? As soon as she comes, That would be the first sentence which will come out from my mind. And then if she gets angry with me or if she's not happy with me, I'll be annoyed myself. But this is how it happens. So this prajna parad is a concept of our ancient gurus, ancient, and then though I will take up the subject, but we can always start slowly, and advices are always bad to give, but good to take. But I would just say, one of my Ayurvedic professors told me, Vari and Nidra. Vari means water, and Nidra means rest, help. So we need to go into that sort of Nidra, we need to go into that state of mind, that consciousness, so that we can progress, we can fly over, we can really feel something. And that is my wish with your work. And I'm so happy that it's happening. It is happening, and it will bloom. It will be something which touches my heart. And with Raghuramji and with other experts who are on the platform, they are very good guides. And these guides will help us. They will light up some light, some inner light, some outer light, they will show us the path. And the path by itself is interesting. Not that only the aim and the goal is interesting, that is just to walk on this path, just to have this fabulous knowledge of each and every one. So I really wish that we have a golden path on which we travel together, where all the difficulties just should disappear. And my prayers, my wishes, and all my heart is with each and every one of you, that we make this festival really a festival. Because though yoga very often leads us to ascetic attitude, and I really like that you made it a festival, that it's a festival, there is a joy, there is something beautiful. And to end up, the progress towards our goal, towards this evolution, by nature, it takes a certain time. But if the mind collaborates and the heart collaborates, it would be faster, and that would be through education. But if the yoga comes in, it will be really accelerated and will be on that path very beautifully. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anuradha ji.
Thank you very much.
Vinay ji. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Kiranji, for that heartwarming sharing. And it re-sparked or rekindled the old spark of our connection that we had
Exactly,
French
yes.
and Sanskrit, and also reminded me of the golden link that we shared. And my sincere or humble request to you, Raghuramji, and all the other seniors on and other people on this platform who are collaborators with us, that the Indica Yoga is a very young platform. And all of you have been in this field for so long. So our very humble request is, please hold our hands and guide us along those paths that will help us all move towards a better world together. So a real sincere prayer and request on those lines. Thank you very much. It was very, very, very touching. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiranji, for that wonderful message, heart-touching message. In fact, what we had was just an appetizer, and I would like to assure all our participants that we'll be having a full course meal, a full course French meal with all its delicacies from both the speakers. So thank you once again, Raghuramji and Vyasji. May I now request my colleague and dear friend Sophia Ann French, who is the coordinator for the festival here, to give us an overview of the events to come, and also deliver the vote of thanks. Sophia, over to you.
Thank you, Vinay. Namaste, everyone. I'm very happy to be a part of the team at Indica Yoga at the Global Festival of Yoga. We have a fantastic lineup of teachers and speakers this year who will join us from India and abroad. So stay tuned the entire month as we all come together to celebrate wisdom, healing, and well-being. Thank you, Abhishek, for that beautiful invocation. And a big thank you to our chief guests, Yogeshri Raghuramji and Shri Kiran Pyasji, for so graciously inaugurating this event. We'd like to extend our gratitude to our collaborators at the Center for Soft Power, the Global Peace Initiative of Women, the Indian Yoga Association, Ritambara Ashram, and Ritambara Wellness. None of our events would be possible without all the hard work that our creative and technical teams put in to make these events go well. So thank you for your relentless work. Thank you to all our participants who have joined us today. And a big thank you and shout out to our leaders, Vijay Lakshmi ji, Hari and Vinay, for always guiding us in the right direction with love and patience. Dhanyavad, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. May now request Koti ji to display tomorrow's events. Every day we are going to have 2 sessions, once in the morning 7 to 8 and again in the evening 7 to 8 Indian Standard Time. The morning sessions cater to Indian time, American time, as well as the Eastern countries. And the evening sessions will cater to Indian, European, and the American time zone. So we request all our friends and participants from across the globe to join us for all these sessions. Both sessions will be practice oriented. In the morning, we have Dukkha Sanyoga Viyoga, a practical application of yogic techniques for inner healing by Yoga Rishi Sai Ji, who is the founder of Hojo Yoga based out of Bangalore. And in the evening, we have a session on Yoga Nidra by Ms. Indra Chavaji, a teacher from Mysore. So both will be practice oriented sessions. So please come prepared for these sessions and make the most of these. So this will be the routine for next 1 month for all of us. So with this, I'd like to thank once again everyone and also take a moment to acknowledge the message that we have been receiving across our social media platforms. There are many who have reconnected with us from the last year's event, which ran for nearly 41 days. So that was a big mega event, 41 days Maha Yajna, I should say. And there were many stakeholders there, and all of them are seeing this as an opportunity to come together. So for all of us, it's like a family reunion, just that it's going to be there for 1 whole month. So with this spirit, we take off with this inaugural session and wish you all a good evening, good night, or a good day from whichever part of the world you have joined. And we bring this session to the conclusion. Thank you once again. Namaste.